Hello, 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 hello. How are you doing today? Happy Monday. Thank you so much for joining me for another little video. And today we're going to be talking about some of my favorite ways to warm up if you're going to be doing hip work for belly dance and shimmies particularly as well. And these are all ways that I use. Ideally, use them all together if you can, but if you are short of time, you could always just pick one or two of them and try and incorporate them in before you get into your dance hip work. And that's really going to help you to be able to move better and to stay injury free and to feel stronger and have more power and control over your dance, basically. Before I carry on though, if you are watching, please do give me a little thumbs up to let me know you are out there, or a little heart. And same goes if you're watching on catch up, please do give me a little comment to let me know you have watched this video, and do let me know if you have any questions at all. There's going to be some links to the resources I mentioned in the comments, or if you're watching on Instagram, they'll be in my bio. So check those out as well. So today, as I said, we're going to be looking at some different ways to warm up for your hip work and shimmies. And the first thing I would recommend always, and pretty much with any kind of thing that you're going to be doing, is to mobilize the spine. And what you want to do is really thinking about three different planes, or the three different planes of movement, and trying to mobilize the spine in that direction. So first of all, you've got your no, that's not your transverse plane at all. That's your sagittal plane, this front and back one here. And this one is really easy one to remember. Like a lot of us know cat-cow exercise from yoga. You can even do it standing up with your hands on your knees, just rounding the spine and lifting the chest a little bit like this. Or you could even do a full roll through, lifting the head up a couple of times and then arching the back to come down and rolling through. And this is particularly important if you're doing any kind of pelvic up and down movements, but really great just mobilizer for the spine anyway. And then you want to be also thinking about the lateral side, so your frontal plane, and this is going to be side bends, for example. If you do yoga, you can think about something like a triangle pose. I know this isn't a what's the word, a conventional triangle pose here, but anything that involves side bending. This one's particularly important if you're going to be moving your hips up and down. So just your normal single hips, or your standard shimmy where you're moving your hips up and down. Although we are stationary with our legs and with our upper torso, we're actually doing a lateral bend in the spine. Lots and lots of repetitive small lateral bends in your lumbar spine to make this hip work happen. So really important to make sure that you warm up in this direction. And then also you have your transverse plane, which you can do by doing twists. And I like to just swing the arms by the sides and get a little bit of a twist going in the spine, for example. And if you want a really nice little juicy spine flow warm up, jump into the comments or on Instagram in my bio. You will get a link and get a 6-minute flow for your spine, which is really great to add to your warm up when you're warming up for anything, or just to do on its own. So now my next tip is to do a muscle energy technique. If you have been watching me for a while, hopefully you have seen me talk about muscle energy techniques, because they are my bag. What is a muscle energy technique? Very, very simply, it involves doing a really small contraction with the muscle to actually get it firing again and to get it to release if perhaps it's stuck in spasm. And I recommend doing some muscle energy techniques for the pelvis. There's a few different ones that you can do just to get those muscles to release. And why is that important? Because if your muscles are all stuck, then you're not going to be able to move them. Do you know what I mean? You're not going to be able to do a nice, loose, juicy movement with your hips in whatever direction you want to do that. If you want some more information on muscle energy techniques, again, there's a link. I've got a video with a bit more description about what they're all about, and a little hip release with muscle energy techniques included in the video. So again, find that link in bio if you're on Instagram. Link will be in the comments in a moment if you are watching on Facebook. So my next little tip is to start building some strength in your hip and leg muscles. So what do I recommend for that? I recommend some squats, good old squats. I'm sure you love them, but do them how it feels best for your body. There's so many different ways to do squats. You can do them with parallel legs. You can turn the legs out. You can do them a bit more like a plie and keep the upper body lifted a little bit more. So there's many different ways that you can do them, and they're fantastic really for getting your hips nice and warm, getting your legs nice and warm, getting your ankles nice and warm. We can also do lunges, another favorite. I really recommend squeezing the back glute in your lunge to open up the hip flexors. And we also don't want to forget about, again, this sideways movement. So lateral lunges are really great for warming up and strengthening your adductors and abductors, your inner and outer thighs. While we are doing our hip movements, we don't really think about them that much. But again, with this lateral bending happening in the hips, our legs aren't abducting or adducting. However, they are, even though they're stationary, because of this up and down movement of the hips. So really important to build some strength and mobility there. So squats, lunges, side lunges. And then finally, I'm going to have to pop onto the floor with this one. I really recommend getting some core activation. And can we see me? Let me just make sure you can see me. Good. So my favorite thing to do here is dead bugs. If you don't know what a dead bug is, very, very quickly, you're going to be lying on the floor and your spine is going to be in neutral. And there's all sorts of variations, but it basically involves keeping your spine in neutral whilst moving one limb or two or 3 or 4 limbs, and in various different ways. You can do it forwards and backwards and out to the side as well. And this is really great because it really trains your spine to stay in neutral whilst limbs moving at the same time and really focusing on keeping that stability. So I'm going to do a little bit more detail on dead bugs next week, so don't miss that. It will be a similar sort of time on a Monday most likely, but I'll always do a little announcement and it will always be around for catch up, so you can watch out for that because I'll be talking a little bit more detailed about your core and some really important tips for that. So just to recap: spine mobility, muscle energy techniques to release them, strength with some squats and lunges and side lunges, and then get your core activated to make sure your spine is nice and stable to be able to move from that place with safety. So if you have any questions, please do drop them in the comments. Please tag me if you are watching this on Catch Up. And I think that's it. I haven't seen any questions pop up while I've been online, so I will leave you for today. Just a reminder, the links are in there for the free spine mobility. There's a link also for some more information about muscle energy techniques. And if you are interested in taking class with me, my new classes are also online for booking to start next week. So you have an I Move Freely class, which is all about muscle energy techniques, and also transcultural fusion dance class, both on a Tuesday evening. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you next time. Take care. Big love.